How's it going, guys? Alex Schild here. Welcome back to Bangtao. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And just like everybody, over the weekend, I was watching UFC 319, Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. And just like everybody, I think everyone had a lot to say about that main event. And absolutely dominating performance by Khamzat. He won 5 rounds to 0 with really a few things, and he did it in each round. First thing was his wrestling. He obviously dominated with the wrestling from the first few seconds. He went for a shot and was able to get him down to the ground, and then he dominated with his ground control, and what everybody noticed was his crucifix. So we had Frank and Che giving a little breakdown based on the wrestling perspective of things that Khamzat did really well, things that Dricus did well, but also maybe could have improved on, and we figured we'd give you a little taste from the jiu-jitsu perspective, maybe a little things that both guys could have done a little bit better, or things that they did well, and yeah, just let us know what you guys think. So first is, we're talking a lot in my class this week about early stage versus late stage. Of course, early stage defense, be able to defend the takedown, not getting onto the ground, but eventually you will. So things that we can do to kind of work out of that position. And so we figured a good kind of way to go about this is even just watch from, we just rewatched the fight right now, just kind of start watching the fight, and even from the beginning, just kind of talk about things that happened and that maybe they could have changed to do a little bit better. So even first in the beginning, we knew that Khamzat was going to shoot. And if you saw, he obviously got under Dricus pretty good, but what Dricus did is he instinctually went for the guillotine. Now, people can blame him and they can fault him and say, man, why would you go for the guillotine? You got to defend the shot first. Of course, he should, right? But if you look into his record, actually, Dricus has quite a few submissions. I just looked. Actually, I think it's half of his, or nearly half of his wins. He has 11 wins by submission, and a lot of those are guillotine, okay? I've been watching Dricus for a long time, watching him in KSW, watching him in EFC. I know he's got a good guillotine, and if he believes in it, obviously you can blame it after the fact, but why not go for it? But he did end up going for it. It did put him in a bad situation. Khamzat actually, if you rewatch it again, Khamzat actually went for a Von Flue choke and could have actually finished the fight there. How dramatic of a main event would that have been if the title changed hands in the first 30 seconds from a Von Flue choke? But he did eventually let go of the head, and where he got into real trouble very early in the fight and was real trouble for most of the fight was that crucifix position. So we're going to go over a few things that we noticed that maybe he could have done a little bit earlier to avoid the position. So first we're going to start once he was already passing. Of course, the issue is not getting past, okay? We don't want our guard to get past, but it's going to happen. Khamzat had such good pressure. He got on top of him and he started getting to his hip. Get on your hip. Yeah, he was kind of leaning into him. So first off, I want to be framing, not accepting that position. Okay, this arm is framing, my top arm is framing. But if you notice, and it will depend whether this hand was caught behind the head or not, but first I want to try to frame here. If you notice, Khamzat was doing a really good job at pinning the wrists and trying to staple over. Okay, now in this moment, we're talking early stage versus late stage. So if you watch, you got to give credit to DDP. He was doing a good job. He was keeping his hips in the air. Okay, he was trying not to let Khamzat settle. He's keeping his hips in the air. But I think a few things he could have done a little bit faster to avoid the position or avoid getting stuck was either to bridge up, and he's going to lock his hands. Okay, now from here we can do what's basically called like a funk roll. Okay, I'm going to bridge up, and I'm not going to roll towards where his base is. I'm going to try to get in line with him, roll over his hip, and end up on top. If he could have bridged over and done this funk roll beautifully, it would have been nice, but at least he could have tried to do it to create some sort of scramble, okay? Another thing he could have done from this position, okay? So he was here, he got stapled, and maybe he can't funk roll. Okay, and maybe if I do try to get my hands, he goes for a heavy crossface. Yeah, and he's worried about this. Can I go back? Okay, if I can't roll that direction, I'm just gonna wrestle up. Okay, watch my hips. Instead of pushing him this direction, I'm gonna pull in, I'm gonna wrestle, and I'm gonna pull myself on top. All right, so if you guys are a little more experienced and you guys have seen octopus guards, it's a similar thing to an octopus guard, like using a Kasoto to wrestle up, but we can do the same thing. So he's already passing, he's getting here, he's stapled. I'm trying to funk roll him through, but I feel he has good resistance. I'm gonna keep my hips up and wrestle into him. Try to get on top. Okay, but maybe we can't do that, you know? Khamzat, he looks pretty tough. Looks pretty tough, so maybe he's a little bit worried he really can't wrestle. Okay, from this position, go back. He's framing, go down, staple. Yeah, okay, maybe he can't lock. You still gotta look for your underhooks, okay? I'm framing, and my left arm is pummeling, looking for the underhooks, okay? This is important too, okay? If his shin is stuck like this and he leaves his hand here, his hand might get stuck, okay? So some extra little details. You can take your hand, especially with the glove on. With the glove on, for sure it's gonna get stuck, okay? So we can take our hand and we can face it like this. Okay, now we start to wrestle up. Try to pull our arm out, try to wrestle, try to get to the back. So even when we're in the crucifix, we can't forget about looking for the underhooks. So we still can't forget looking at our underhooks. If we were in side control, if we didn't have this and I was framing here, get a side control, on your knees. Yeah, I'm framing. And I'm looking for my underhooks. So it would generally be the same type of thing. You know, it's quite often. Okay, he's here and looking for the underhooks to wrestle and get up, okay? But he can't really do that because, go down. Yep, he tried to staple his arm and then the arm came to the middle and we got here. So Khamzat did a really good job of just keeping his arms here. Okay, now he started to go for the Americana. Khamzat. Yeah, and he brought the hander on the outside, okay? And then this is where he was for a lot of the fight, okay? The only problem with this, okay, with this arm like this, is that he can defend a little bit. So he's trying to punch, and he can defend just a little bit, just enough. And he can also turn, keep his head hidden just enough, so Khamzat couldn't finish. But he couldn't get out, okay? So same thing, this arm has to keep framing. If he keeps his head down, Khamzat did a good job of keeping his head down. He can't get his hand back. But there was a few times when his head was up. Yep. And he could have pummeled and framed. And same thing, we're just looking to wrestle. Okay, so we're not forgetting about our underhooks from there. All right, but easier said than done. So maybe I can't get this arm out, okay? Now this arm is stuck. Put your head down. Yeah, so this arm is stuck. So move your arm a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so now this arm is stuck and I can't get it out. And I can't funk roll and I can't get here. Okay, so if you heard the broadcast, DC was talking about this a lot, and Michael Bisping, when he was here, was talking about it a lot. Trying to maybe trap his legs. Okay, use your legs, trying to trap something, to try to open this, and to try to pull your arm out. And then again, looking for underhooks, and trying to wrestle up, which is good, but maybe you can't do that. Okay, I was looking at DDP, and his legs were a little bit farther away. So he couldn't get to the feet here. So keep your knees up. Yeah, so he couldn't attack. So instead, we're gonna try to create space, and I'm gonna try to bring a wedge inside. So my knee and my shin, create space, my knee and my shin goes into his hip. And I use this to create a wedge. I'm gonna push, pull, and then try to get my arms out, try to get back to the position. So we gotta get both arms out. He gets to the crucifix, we gotta think about both, okay? I gotta be framing, underhooks, trying to pull out. Maybe I can't do that. I gotta get this out, okay? If I can try to trap his legs, but if I can't, I'm gonna try to create a wedge. Use my knee and my shin, bump, get my knee inside, pull, maybe get to a position where I can keep attacking. So, look, Dricus did a good job at not taking a lot of damage. He kept his hips in the air. He kept rolling and moving. I just think there was just maybe a few things he could have done instead of holding onto the head. He could have framed a little bit more, but obviously easier said than done. I don't think I would have done any better either, so. And then I think even from the top perspective, obviously Khamzat did a very good job at getting him down to the ground. He did a very good job at passing his guard. It was pretty easy, okay? And he did a very good job at getting the hand behind the head and looking to pin the wrist and get his arm caught in between his legs, okay? Now, maybe something he could have done just a little bit better. Instead of letting the arm come into here, which he did a good job at controlling that arm, but maybe he's able to defend a little bit. Okay, and maybe he's able to lock his hands. Roll me over. Okay, so go back. So try a little bit harder to pin and just control with your shin. Okay, not letting his arm come in between your legs. At least from here, he tries to roll me over now. Try to roll. Go, try to roll, get up. Yep, he can try here. And you can do it with both legs. This leg has nice control. If I wanted to maybe let him sit up a little bit more and attack the back, I'm gonna switch my legs. I'll go here. So he tries to get up, and now maybe I could try to advance the position, look towards the back a little bit more. So yeah, this position is, yeah, it's super hard to get out of, but Dricus did just enough to be able to stop him from getting any damage. Since he did end up a lot this time with his legs inside here, maybe a few other things he could have tried, because again, he ended up here for most of the fight, and every time he was just able to block a little more, hold me tight. Yeah, just a little bit, okay? Since his arm was in between his legs, I can actually take this top leg, I can push the head down, and I can step over. And from here, I really have like a, Paul, get on this side. Staring at my ass, Paul, I know how you are. So now I've done a really good job at controlling him, getting to here, and now I can look for my Kimura finish. And because of my leg position, actually I'll rotate, Paul, you were right. Yeah, because of my leg position, now I've set up a really nice triangle. Okay, a triangle can at least, I mean, you maybe tap him here, but it makes him really worried. So if I'm squeezing, it just makes the Kimura a little bit easier. So, and I think a few more times as well, Khamzat maybe could have, when he was framing, Dricus was framing here, maybe a little bit more, he could have attacked at Americana and looked to get it behind the head again. And honestly, I thought he could have really finished with an Americana anyway. People consider Americana a beginner technique, but it's not. Just because you learn it as a beginner, it's actually just a fundamental technique. So let's add a little details to the Americana and why maybe he couldn't finish it, which is fine, because even when I attack, it gets behind the head, okay? But maybe if I wanted to finish, where people think it doesn't have good control, is where he pulls his elbow to his ribs. Yeah, he does that. Or he reaches over, well, since I have Crucifix, he can't, but he reaches over, grab your hand, and he hurts my hand like this, almost putting me in like a wrist lock, okay, go back. So let's make this Americana a little bit tighter. Okay, we're gonna take our motorcycle goes like this. We're gonna do reverse motorcycle, both hands. Okay, so as we go for the Americana, both my hands, reverse motorcycle. Now he tries to pull his elbow in. Yeah, he tries to grab his hand. It's really difficult. So I really believe Khamzat for sure, how strong he is, how dominant he is on top. For sure, if he had some, I'm sure he knows how to grapple, of course, but if he had just little extra things he could have added to his Americana, go try to get your arm out. Get your arm out, get up. Yeah, you can see he's much bigger than me, but even with my shin control, with my Americana control, get up, like really get up. Yeah, I have pretty nice control. So yeah, you know, that's kind of the takeaways. I think we can go even more deep into it. Here at the class, we're actually breaking it down, which I'm sure everyone else is. This is just kind of stuff that works well for me and stuff that, yeah, I quite like being on top in this position. I think it opens up a lot more things. Kimura's back attacks, arm bars, but again, you know, who am I? I don't think I would have done any better. So he ended up winning the belt, and all hats off to him. You know, you gotta, you know, if you don't like the style, or you think, oh man, he just laid there for 5 rounds, you try fighting the guy, you try getting underneath him for 5 rounds, or you get out of it. So, you know, but yeah, we just figured it's a good opportunity for here with our students and the fighters that come through here to go over it and talk about it, share techniques. And yeah, if you guys want to see more of this stuff, let us know. We're gonna try to be a little bit more active with like these kind of fight breakdowns and show you guys a bit of insight here as what's going on in the class. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you here at Bangtao.